I've always looked to the 1950s as a period that was just rife in beauty inspiration, but I will be first to admit that I don't actually know that much about the makeup history of the decade. So I thought, what better way to learn about it than to get my hands on actual vintage makeup tutorials from the 1950s and do it myself. I reached out to Max Factor, which is a beauty brand that's been around since 1909. And so Max Factor gave me this. So this is a makeup pamphlet from 1950 that details how to apply makeup. Before I tried the tutorial though, I knew I had to bolster my knowledge on the 1950s and what was trendy at the time. So I reached out to Gabriela Hernandez. She's the founder of Bésame Cosmetics, which is a beauty brand that has really taken inspiration from makeup from the 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s and adapted it for a modern day consumer. I would love for you to like kind of give context as to the decade itself, what makeup meant.
You had from World War II a lot of people that could not use a lot of makeup products because they weren't in production at the time because of shortages due to the war. As the 50s rolled around, there was all kinds of products being produced. And now all of a sudden it was kind of like an explosion of fashion, color, and makeup. Anything that would make you more attractive, the more feminine, the better. Because after the war, the whole idea of the whole country was make babies so that we can recoup the people that we lost. To be kind of the perfect wife type thing, you had to look the part. If you see the dresses, they had huge skirts, very tight-waisted, pointier bras. So things that really exaggerated the female form. And the same thing happened with the makeup. So makeup got a lot bolder than what it was in the 40s. It wasn't like taboo anymore.
Talking to Gabriela was really enlightening. So I sat down with a bunch of vintage-inspired makeup and my Max Factor pamphlet and got to work. Here are Max Factor's Hollywood makeup secrets. So let's start with foundation. Pan stick makeup was becoming increasingly popular. It was a cream makeup that was designed to be easy to use and applied with fingers. I applied my pan stick makeup exactly how the directions called for. I applied light strokes to my forehead, nose, cheeks, chin, and used it very, very sparingly. With your fingertips, simply smooth it upward and outward from the center of your face. Continue until it's blended. Okay, upward and outward. So moving on to eye makeup. The instructions for eyeshadow is to blend a natural shade of eyeshadow from your eyelash to your eyebrow. Wait a second. I'm gonna blend kind of like a mid-tone brown on my eyelid following this application method, which is from eyelash to eyebrow. Once my base was down, I moved on to a little bit of pastel shadow inspired by my conversation with Gabriela.
You definitely saw shadows being used in colors that were very obvious, like a teal and a blue and, you know, colors that were really bold.
I decided to use a little bit of pastel blue, inspired by the illustration on the Max Factor pamphlet. After my eyeshadow was down, I moved on to mascara, or what they call it in the pamphlet, which is eyelash makeup. Now, I actually got my hands on an actual cream tube mascara from Bésame. This mascara was really nice. It volumized really well, although I wish it came in a waterproof formulation, but I still think it looked good. So moving on to eyebrows.
Your brow kind of determined what type of woman you were trying to. Right. Yes.
You're meant to follow the natural curve of your eyebrow to the end of the brow, extending the line a trifle.
If you go more pointy as it goes into your temple, kind of like a Marilyn Monroe, that was kind of considered to be the seductive type of, of brow. If you were more of an ingenue or innocent, you would do, the Audrey Hepburn ones, which was more straight.
So I decided to go with a bit of a sultry vibe today. The last step in the eyes is eyeliner. I took a little bit of this Nye Cake Liner, dipped it in a bit of water, and drew a small cat eye above my upper lash line.
To do the kind of the doe eye kind of wing look on the eyeliner came in during the 50s.
Once my cat eye was on, I moved on to the very last step of the eye makeup section. Where the eyelash meets the lower lid, draw a fine line forming a faint shadow back of the lashes. This is one of my favorite vintage makeup hacks, and it creates an illusion that your eyelashes are so big and fluffy that they cast a shadow underneath your eye. So now that the eyes are done, I moved on to rouge. There is an illustrated section of this pamphlet that tells you how to rouge a round face. That's me. The idea is to have an oval face. In the 50s, everyone wanted an oval face. I used the Bésame cream rouge and applied it to my cheek and blended downward to create the illusion that my face is longer. Then the instruction says to blend the rouge toward the nose. This apparently lessens the highlight at the center of the face, making your face appear more oval. They want dull face. Dull face. Honestly, this was a lot of blush for me, but after kind of getting used to the look, I really liked it. I think that the effect of pulling the rouge down the cheek really does give the illusion of a more oval, more lengthened face. Now that my base makeup is completely done, I moved on to powder. So taking the Bésame loose powder, I took the puff and blended powder toward the center of my face. Powder the nose last, otherwise the nose will be over powdered, making it appear conspicuous. You must make sure your face is completely powdered. Then, when you're done, buff away the excess powder from your skin. Last but not least is lipstick. Now I pulled out my old Guerlain lipstick, which is the same shade that Marilyn Monroe used to wear. Lipstick will only adhere to a dry lip. There are only 3 types of lips according to this pamphlet: thin lips, full lips, and drooping lips. I think that I kind of fall on the full lip section, so I followed those instructions. This is where things get a little weird. You're meant to press your lips together, therefore depositing some color from the top lip down to the lower lip. You are not meant to add more lipstick to the lower lip. Apparently, having less color on the lower lip and more color on the upper lip will detract attention from the fullness of a lower lip. I did not know that that was a bad thing, but I guess in the 50s it was. The last step was just to moisten lips to give them luster. So I took that to mean add a little bit of clear gloss. Going into making this video, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous. While many people look at the 1950s as this time of American opulence, in my eyes, makeup was often used to reinforce really strict gender roles.
It was actually expected at that time to wear makeup on a daily basis. There was a lot of pressure, and I'm sure it was very hard on women to keep this up. Women of color definitely did not have a lot of representation when it came to makeup. There were definitely very limited selection of products, so they had to buy whatever was available for other women. They couldn't really find makeup bases. The colors did not go beyond like a tan, so most of the women didn't wear base. You know, we want to look that way today because it's very pretty and it's very feminine and it's nostalgic.
After talking to Gabriella and doing this entire tutorial, I realized that the 1950s is one small part of an entire line of makeup history. People think of makeup as this trivial, materialistic thing, but makeup goes so beyond simply what you're putting on your face. It has historical relevance, it has cultural significance, it has economic impact. Every decade has its own unique makeup identity, and I'm really excited to learn more about it. It's very evident that makeup is truly a reflection of the times. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you want to see next on Beauty With Me by commenting down below, and click here to subscribe to Refinery29 and click here to watch another video. Bye.